The sound is incredible. You feel it as much as you hear it.
Yeah, the magnitude, the size of the aircraft, that it can get up in the air.
Tell everybody these old vintage airplanes are time machines. They take the person who did it in wartime back to the time that they were 18 or 20 years old.
Hi, I'm content producer Michael Barrett, and I'm here at the Statesville Regional Airport to see Doc, one of the only two remaining B-29 Superfortresses in the world that are still flying. Seeing one of these is obviously rare. The iconic aircraft is still just as visually stimulating as it was more than 80 years ago when the plane served the United States in World War II. So we've come out to find out just a little more about what makes Doc here so unique.
I get a lot of questions on what's it like to fly the airplane. I say it's a pickup truck on a gravel road. It's a little squirrely, big airplane, 141-foot wingspan, 100 feet long. And when you're slow, the plane sort of wallows a little bit.
The B-29 was designed for the long-distance flying needed in the Pacific Theater, and its legacy was further cemented after two B-29s, named the Enola Gay and Bockscar, dropped atomic bombs on Japan during the Second World War.
It is such a unique opportunity. As you can see by the crowds we've got behind us, we've got a couple thousand people here today. Everybody wants to come and see one of these things because they are rare. They don't get, in some ways, they don't get the same recognition as the 17 and 24 did in the European theater, like Masters of the Air. But this airplane changed the war. Without it, we were going to have a terrible time fighting the Pacific War.
Doc's ability to take flight sets it apart from planes that are simply sitting in museums.
We are a piece of living history that people can hear, feel, touch. The sound is incredible. You feel it as much as you hear it. It's not terribly loud. It's just got a deep-throated rumble feel to it. Very unique, and it is such an iconic aircraft.
Mark Novak has been flying Doc since 2016. For the 4 years before that, he flew Fifi, the only other B-29 that is still operational.
So I had some prior experience. You say this is one of those airplanes that you need some experience to continue on in it because there's no simulators to train in.
The plane's distinctiveness starts with its cockpit glass.
It's very, very unique, and when you get your pictures and you look at this nose up here with all this glass in it, it's almost too much information because you see clear down to your feet. Normally when a pilot comes into land, as you're coming down, you got an aim point. The aim point goes behind the dashboard. Well, on this one, you can see to the aim point, and there's more than one pilot that have landed on the nose gear, and that's not the approved solution to put 80,000 pounds on the nose gear.
The aircraft's sheer size required almost a dozen people to fully run it.
The normal combat crew was 10. There would be a bombardier that sat in the nose of the airplane. He literally sat way out there, can't even look back to see the engines or the wings. Two pilots where we're sitting. Behind the co-pilot was a flight engineer. He ran all the systems on the airplane, fuel, electricity, start and stop the engines. There was a navigator in the front and a radio operator in the front. So 6 in the front, 4 more in the back. The 4 in the back were all gunners.
The B-29 offered a significant upgrade from its predecessor, carrying 3 times the weapons with the ability to fly more than 3,000 miles on bombing missions.
What are some of the reactions that you enjoy seeing from people who have a chance to see the cockpit and talking to them about the experience of flying this airplane?
Well, the kids, when they step through the hatch and they just go, wow. If they're the first ones through and all they see is just this glass up here, I mean, they're just amazed because, like I said, most airplanes you don't get that classic glass cockpit view.
The cockpit's resemblance to the famed Millennium Falcon from the Star Wars films is no coincidence.
The rumor is that George Lucas saw one of these on the back lot of some movie and he said, I can do something with that.
Fewer surviving World War II veterans are making their way onto tours of Doc these days, but more of their family members are.
We're seeing their children, especially their grandchildren. The grandchildren, so these are 40-year-olds, and they just want to know what Grandpa did.
Longtime aviation specialist Frank Berry has been with Doc's friends for more than a decade. He has come to know Doc like the back of his hand.
This is typically called the gunner's compartment. We're behind the wing. 3 of the gunners would have been in here. The upper rear turret was here. One of the gunners would go all the way back to the tail gun position. His compartment was also pressurized, but it had to be outside to get to it.
There were 12 50 caliber guns on board in all, each with 500 rounds. They could work in conjunction with each other or also be fired individually using a computer system that was cutting edge for its time.
We shot down almost 12 airplanes for every bomber we lost due to fighters.
Right.
Yeah, P-51 Mustangs and our other top fighters in the 11 range. I mean, we're fighter territory with it.
Right. That's pretty
So
good.
you did not want to mix it up with a B-29. The gunnery system was second to none.
For many area residents, Doc's visit was something they could not pass up.
This is an opportunity to see something that doesn't exist much anymore. They only made close on a little under 4,000 of these airplanes, and this is one of two that's still flying. And to see something this size that can get up in the air just fascinates me.
I'm a World War II buff, and like airplanes, like anything to do with the military, and had a number of friends that were in World War II and flew B-29s. Brother-in-law was a co-pilot on a B-29 out of Tinian, and he had about 25 missions.
If you missed Doc in Statesville, you can still catch him in the coming weeks if you're up for a little road trip. Just visit b29doc.com for upcoming dates. Officials say tours like this one around the country are vital to sharing the history of the aircraft.
And the fact is that we can bring it out. If this airplane was sitting in a museum, it'd be covered with 2 inches of dust, and 1/10 of 1% of our people would come. More people will see us when we go out for a 30-minute flight than would ever come to a museum, wherever it was.
For Neighborhood TV, I'm Michael Barrett.